Hello, good evening from my neck of the woods to all my friends out there who have dropped by to watch my vlog today. Thank you very much. Today I'm going to talk about one of the books I have wished to talk about briefly for a long time. This is my book series, as you all who have been coming by to check and see what my blogs and vlogs are about. This is a series of different books that I have been reading over the years and have reread them because of so many good things that I have acquired in terms of wisdom, etc., from these books. Some books are worth revisiting for sure. So, uh, today's book that I'm going to share with all of you is a book that I had picked up on one of my trips to the US a couple of years ago called Yeshe Lama's book called When the Chocolate Runs Out. Lama Yeshe. And please forgive me if my voice is not clear. I'm using two methods to record this vlog today, my camera and an application on my PC. I'm still in the experimenting mode, so pardon me for all the glitches that might happen. Let's just focus on the essence of the vlog. And the essence today is, what kind of happiness are we looking for? Is happiness permanent? Is happiness impermanent? That's the essence of this vlog today. Once again, I repeat, the book I'm sharing is When the Chocolate Runs Out by Lama Yeshe. A beautiful novella. And I have referred to this very often when I have had group discussions with a few of my friends. We have a little book club that we have put together. Now, let's come to the point. And I personally have an undergrad degree in behavioral psychology. And why I mention that is um, today's blog is going to be about my experience when I was in my early years in the US and my mother dear was visiting me. And I'm going to refer to my mother as Auntie Pat. There's a reason for that. My cousin Rachna named her Auntie Pat. Her Indian name is Patwant. And this was at a very adolescent age when she and her younger brother Puneet decided to call her Auntie Pat. So, for easy reference in my vlogs moving forward, Auntie Pat is my mother dear. May her soul rest in peace. So, while she was visiting me in my early years in the US, I had to take her for a checkup. She had severe ankle problems, issues, and pain related muscular issues that were recurring. So, very difficult for her to walk. And I took her to a podiatrist. And today I'd like to just mention, I don't remember the name of the doctor. I wish I did. Um, it starts with an N, but in my future vlogs, when I talk about certain topics, I'm sure it'll come up. He resided as a doctor in the Northside Hospital in Atlanta, Georgia. He practiced there. Now, he didn't come to me as a reference. I just happened to know that there were some good doctors in Atlanta, and one of them was in Northside. So I took my mom dear there. What I'm trying to say here is this vlog is going to be talking about two different experiences in the flow of the day. And why I spoke about my degree being in behavioral psychology is because I met two circumstances, two situations where people from different spectrums of life we interacted with that day. So we went to the clinic, met the doctor. What a warm welcome. What a wonderful gentleman. I'm sure he's still practicing, if not, maybe just retired, as I'm also 60 now. At that time, I was in my 30s. So having got the prescription from him for what we need to do for my mom's feet, he realized that she will not be able to walk much. So he said, Mrs. Patwant, I'm going to give you a handicap parking tag so your daughter can park in a comfortable area where you don't have to walk much into the mall or into the places you're going to be visiting. So that was very kind of him. So, and when I say he was such a caring, gentle, calm demeanor that he expressed while we visited him, There's a reason. People bond because, like, there's a saying that goes this way: birds of a feather flock together, or there's a common bandwidth because of some common reason, right? Well, this gentleman had a brother who was settled in Thailand, and us being from Thailand, that kind of sparked a warmth of, interest in getting to know more about us. And so the caring, the loving nature was always there, I'm sure. But we felt special, truly. So he was asking so many questions, and he planned to visit Thailand, and he wanted to know more about Thailand. And I told him, Doctor, I'll come by and I will help assist you put together your itinerary one of the days. So that's a story with that podiatrist at Northside. Now we finished our work there. He gave us the handicap tag. Our next thing on the to-do list for the day was to go do our groceries. So we drove down Roswell Road and came to Kroger. Kroger, for those who are not from the United States, it's a brand, a grocery brand over there. And we went to Kroger. Now, while we were driving to Kroger, I told Mom, I said, Mom, I'm going to do a social experiment. And I explained to her, now the word social experiment is very popular these days. In those days, I'm talking when I was in my 30s, mid 30s, 30 years ago, I don't recall listening or hearing about social experiment, or maybe it just passed by me. But these days, it's very popular. We get to see so many vlogs and clips and shorts that where people do a lot of social experiments. Also, maybe because we did not have this kind of platform then, and that may have existed that time too, that particular statement. Anyhow, I told her I'm going to go park in the handicap parking, but I'm not going to put the tag as yet. And she didn't ask me any questions. She says, okay, I mean, there was no reason for her to ask. I said, the only thing you do is, Mom, you just observe. Observe what happens. If anybody passes by, comes up to us, I just want you to observe. Now, Auntie Pat, my mom dear, was a very sharp-witted, very worldly wise lady, born in the wrong time, wrong place. She was a woman of the world. In essence, she could have done a lot in life to contribute to society, to community, but that's a content for another day. Having said that, we got into the grocery parking lot of Kroger. And of course, I went and parked in the handicap section. And barely a minute or two, somebody came towards our car, a lady in her mid maybe 50, 60. And she came walking towards my car, and I could see her walking towards my car in a huff and a puff. She came and she knocked at my window, bang, bang, bang. And I rolled down my window, and she started talking to me in a very loud, disrespectful manner. When I say disrespectful, it was in the tempo of her voice, as though she was getting upset with me for a reason she did not know, or her assumption. And she started saying, do you know this is handicap parking? I just looked at her blankly, and you're not supposed to be parking here. You need to move from here. This is for people who have mobility restrictions. And she was right. Now, don't get me wrong. She was doing her due diligence as a good citizen, preventing someone using a space that was not meant for that person without the handicap parking tag. So she was not wrong. But the only thing I'm sharing here is her demeanor. She lost control of her demeanor, in the sense, her tempo, her decorum of speech, which I don't need to mention here. But like I say, it is justified because she was a good citizen and she wanted to make sure the right thing was being done. On my side, I chose to do this experiment with the thought that I wanted to see the perspective of an individual, how they behaved when they saw somebody parking in an area which was illegal without the tag. But like I said, I didn't say a word. I just kept looking at her blankly. And then in a jiffy, her tone her decibel was so high that people started collecting. A couple of other people were standing away from the car but were collecting around that area to see why she was talking so rudely to me. And then she kind of started using gestures, move from here, go park there, etc., etc. When she had done her share of talk, I said, "Hello, ma'am. I will do what I need to do. I have a legal parking permit to park my car in the handicap parking." Her face lost color. She was aghast to see me speak English. Now, she presumed I didn't know the language because she was ranting without giving me a chance to talk when she came to my car. So, like I said, she felt a little embarrassed. I could see it on her face. But she apologized profusely and started walking away from the car. But before she walked, I took out my tag. I told her I'm just coming from the podiatrist, and now I have this tag. I'm going to hang it right now. Social experiment done, over. The lady walked away. Her face flushed with anger plus embarrassment, both. Was I right? At this point, I'll say I was in the gray area. Was she wrong? I would say she was not. She was doing her due diligence. So, all said and done, mom and me, we got up, locked the car, and we walked towards the grocery store to do our grocery. Her demeanor did not change. My attitude did not change. We didn't say a word, both mom and me, and we just walked to the grocery store. In the grocery store, while mom was taking the cart, she said a couple of things. Briefly, she said, "I have learned something in life which which was to this extent, which she said, today I saw two scenarios: a caring, a calm, a patient physician, and a lady who lost her stance in terms of her temperament without knowing what the situation was. But I've learned something in life, even at this age." And that time, mom was 60. So what she shared was even at 60, she got to learn something. And bottom line was, then we spoke about this a little bit more, where she says, and in the Indian language, for a daughter, you say beti. She says, "Beti, one thing in life, always," and these are takeaways for people who are watching this blog of mine, "always know the situation, weigh the pros and cons, do not lose your temperament, do not get reactive, because we don't know why that person reacted in such a manner." So indeed, mom was wise, gave me these beautiful nuggets of wisdom, and we merrily did our shopping. And the rest of the day, both mom and me, Auntie Pat, we had a lovely evening at one of the restaurants, enjoyed, but this conversation did come up and all was good. What I'm going to leave here today with all of you is that happiness is a byproduct of the state of the mind, the situation we are in. Earlier, I mentioned I am a student, undergrad student of behavioral psychology, one of my disciplines. How people react and perceive life depends on the situation they are in. We all know that, circumstances we are in. Hence, happiness is a tangent of our mind, state of a mind, of our environment. Therefore, it's important to understand before we voice our feelings, our thoughts, to take a step back and not judge, but weigh the pros and cons. And the book I talked about in the beginning of this blog is, I repeat again for people who have just joined in or who have fast forwarded the vlog, maybe, it is When the Chocolate Runs Out by Lama Yeshe. As long as I have chocolate, I'll be happy, is the question. As long as you have chocolate, you choose to be happy. So basically, if all the circumstances are in the perfect scenario or in pristine environment, hunky-dory situation, only then will one be happy? You don't know. So I'm just going to pick up a small excerpt from the book today and read out to you. The chapter says salvation through chocolate. We all love chocolate, perhaps so much so that on some level we may believe, as long as I have chocolate, I'll be happy. And based on this particular attachment of this sense, the taste, we create a chocolate-based philosophy and order our life prioritizing chocolate. Chocolate, like all pleasures and all our problems, are supposed to be. Chocolate comes, chocolate goes, chocolate disappears. But take heart. There's another kind of chocolate available to all of us. It is a deep, abiding joy of silent experience, a joy that comes from our own mind. This kind of happiness is always available. And I'll leave it at that. When he says this kind of happiness is always available, what I have understood or have interpreted is that it's a choice. We have a choice how to present ourselves, the demeanor we want to put on, the face we want to keep up, or the managing of the environment and circumstances. And I'll leave you all with a quote by Marcus Aurelius. Simple quote: the soul becomes dyed with the color of one's thoughts. It's very thought-provoking. And to this particular quote, I'm going to add my 2 bits. The soul becomes dyed with the color of one's thoughts and one's environment and one's reactions to the environment. So, choco comes, choco goes, choco disappears. But you still can be happy even when the chocolate runs out. Is that true or not? Is a question I'll leave with you. How will you be happy when the chocolate runs out? Find out. It's a little spiritual, philosophical, but for those who enjoy such understandings or musings of life, I'm hoping this will leave a thought in your hearts, in your minds, that life can be seen from so many perspectives, but chocolate does not always have to be there. Someday it will run out. How will you handle that situation? So, goodbye for now. Do like and subscribe and share with like-minded people. Until the next book series, have a wonderful evening. It is the 29th of December here in Bangkok. Almost around the corner is 2025. Wish you all great tidings and blessings. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.